Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Boujee Best Friend Podcast. I am your host, Cornelia, or Coco. Today is October 3rd. Thank God, finally, Mercury is not in retrograde any longer. I don't know about you, but this Mercury retrograde was really painful for me personally. I felt it in my bones, so I'm excited that it's completely finished for right now. But on another note, I'm very proud to announce my merch is finally live. Yay. This drop, I created hats in 3 colors: black leather, denim, and washed brown, and it has like a white embroidery in the front. One says high maintenance and the other one says first class, because that's our vibe. Okay, they are all available on bougiebestie.com. It is limited edition, so get it while supplies last, and based on your interest on this drop, I'm gonna decide if I'm gonna make more merch. I'm gonna make maybe some hoodies, slippers. I have a bunch of ideas, but let's see how this one goes. Okay, so let me tell you about today's episode and our guest. I had the pleasure of speaking to Tobi Henney. She is a bicoastal makeup artist who originates from Sydney, Australia. She used to be L'Oreal's makeup director for Australia, which is pretty huge. She is known for her flawless, glowing skin and signature red carpet looks. Let me name drop a few clients. She works with Megan Fox, Ashley Graham, Poppy Delevingne, Ellie Goulding. She also worked with a bunch of large brands like Victoria's Secret, Chanel, Dior, Louis Vuitton. The list goes on and on and on. She is incredible. And she also has a makeup brush collection called The Essentials Makeup Brush Collection by Tobi Henney. As a former makeup artist and a beauty lover, I really love this episode because we dissect the ins and outs of the beauty makeup world, how she got where she is, and she gave you actual tangible advice that you can take home and apply in your next makeup application, from the color of your eyes, what colors work well to make them stand out, foundations, blush, like everything, literally so many details for you guys. One more thing before we jump into the episode, please take a moment and leave a 5-star rating and review. This podcast is so special to me, and it would mean so much that you leave a rating and review, because that's my fuel to keep on going, and it's gonna be shown to more people, and we can all be a beautiful Boujee bestie community. Now let's hear from Tobi. Hi Tobi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Coco?
Good. Tobi is a celebrity makeup artist. She has her own brush line. She is doing a lot. She worked on pretty much every celebrity you can think of. Let's start with where are you from? How did you come to the US? Your journey when it comes to makeup. How did you start?
So I'm Australian and I'm originally from Sydney, and I actually didn't get into makeup until my mid-20s. So I studied education after high school, and I went and got my degree. I went and lived in London and in Europe. And then when I returned to Australia, I was like, okay, I want to follow my creative passion, which was makeup. While I was at university, I had my own business doing spray tans and a hair salon. And I'd always wanted to get into the beauty world, but this is pre-Instagram, and it was kind of a hard industry to crack into way back when. And I actually started to assist, and I met a makeup artist who was very kind and referred me to a makeup school. And I was doing school teaching through the days, and I did my makeup course at night. And then every single free moment I had, I would assist on the weekends and my school holidays. And that's how I kind of started to network. And I would meet photographers, stylists, hairstylists, and I just continued to like build my network. And then I got to a point where I started to do my test shoots and build my portfolio, and the agency I was assisting for were very kind and they wanted to take me on. So I made the brave decision to leave my job as a school teacher and jump into this freelance world, which was very scary at the time. And on top of that, my boyfriend broke up with me. I remember like around the same time, and I was like, fuck. Can I
You're
swear
like,
on
what
this?
is going on? Yes, you can.
So yeah, you know how they say you hit rock bottom and then the only way is up? That's exactly how my career started with makeup. It was like, the struggle was real. I remember like doing makeup in the day, and I was quite good at maths, and I was tutoring high school maths at night to make some money. So like I was doing everything I can to make it work. And then I started actually getting into weddings early into my career. And, you know, weddings is a great way to improve your skills as a makeup artist. And, you know, I was doing that craft, like learning my craft and improving my skills. And then, you know, I slowly was doing the fashion, because the fashion takes a little bit longer. And then luckily a few of the celebrities in Australia started to book me, and my profile was growing, and then Instagram started, and then the ball started rolling. And then I think in anything in life, the more that you work at something and like if you're passionate about it, you know, the dots start to connect. And that's kind of what happened to me. So I was lucky enough to work with one of my clients who started to do the Fashion Week circuit, and she brought me to New York one year. And that's kind of how I got introduced to the world over here. Then we went on to Milan, and I was like, wow, like this is a whole new world over like in the Northern Hemisphere, because Australia's tiny. And I was like, I really need to move. Like if I really want to make this work and make it like big, I need to move to America. And so I had decided in my own heart, I was like, okay, I'm going to save my money, get a visa, and figure out how to do this. And then at the same time, there was a competition in Australia to become the next L'Oreal Paris makeup director. And I applied, and I ended up winning, and I won an $80,000 contract with L'Oreal.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so that was kind of like a really good like moment in my career where I was like, wow, this is happening. Like I was, you know, on TV at home and doing all these ad campaigns for L'Oreal. And it also helped me when I was getting my visa, because when you get your US visa, I'm on an O1 visa, you have to prove that you're very good at your job. And so the L'Oreal press for me was, you know, amazing. And once my contract was up, I did, you know, end up moving, and that was way back in 2017 now. And so I've been in America 5.5 years, and then it was nearly like starting again when I got here, because America's a whole different ball game. And I kind of knew which agency I wanted to be represented by, and that's who I'm represented by now. But it took me a while to get to that point. I had to meet people and, you know, sell myself and build my clientele. And yeah, now I'm at a period in my life where I kind of can't believe the clients I have and the jobs I've been able to do and the places I've traveled.
We're going to dive deep
grateful
into all the celebrities you do, because I'm so impressed by your work. I have so many questions. Okay, let's start with, so you moved from Australia to New York, and you said that you felt it was a little, you know, it's difficult to break into a new city, and New York is so massive and everybody wants to be a makeup artist. So how did you start, you know, building your network and working towards having an agency that you have today? So you're represented by the Wall Group.
Exactly. So I moved here and I found an apartment and I got settled, and I had a few clients that were from Australia that were doing the back and forth from Australia to New York. And so I would work with those girls, and then, you know, I was just trying to go out and meet people. But the other thing that I decided to work on was YouTube. And every single time I had a free moment, I would, you know, DM a model and say, come to my apartment, I'll do your makeup and we'll film it. And so I use the internet as a tool to kind of build my online presence and to reach out to brands and build connections with brands and feature their products in my videos, and also on Instagram as well. And I guess that really helped in the early days, because people were seeing these beautiful models and, you know, I've got my style, and I was just trying to really focus on that when I wasn't working. So I think that's a really important part about this freelance like world is, you know, you've got a lot of free time sometimes. If you're not booked out, you know, the rest of the time you got to figure out what to do. And I just really tried to focus on working for myself when I wasn't working physically with clients.
There's so many different types of makeup, and I feel like people don't even understand that, you know, there's one type for red carpet, editorial, weddings. You know, the technique can be different. What is your favorite type of makeup to do?
I would say red carpet. I think red carpet just is so much fun because you're working in a team. And when you walk into somebody's hotel room with a celebrity and there's a stylist there with the look and a hairstylist and, you know, the four of you have to come together and really collaborate and figure out what's this look going to be, and is the makeup going to be a strong look, and maybe the hair takes a back seat or vice versa. And I just love working in that team environment. I find it's really fun. And then, you know, sending that celebrity off and seeing their photos come out as soon as they've done the carpet. It's just like, it's really exhilarating. Like when you do the Met Gala and you do these big events, it's just really fun to see the finished product. So yeah.
Actually, let's retract a little bit. So you moved to New York and you started building your portfolio. You started like building your following, and how did you sign with an agency? So you had an idea of who you wanted to be represented by with the Wall Group. So how did you like get it done?
I definitely had to do some digging. I had to figure out who the agents were at the agencies. I had to do a lot of emailing. I went for meetings. I started meeting with the agents before I'd moved. So I came to New York a few times before moving. But look, there was a lot of ghosting going on as well. Like I remember there was an agent and I had met her and I was like, I'm moving this time next year. And, you know, she was super keen. And then when I got here, she wasn't replying. And like later on, I found out she'd left the company. But you don't know these things. And you think, oh my God, I'm like being rejected. And there's a lot of rejection in this job. So you kind of get used to it. But then, you know, you meet people and you figure things out. And I had a lot of great friends that do hair that really helped me. And yeah, I kept going. And I think the difference I found between Australia and America is Americans are really good at selling themselves and telling people what they're really good at, where in Australia, we kind of like play everything down a lot. And when I was going into these meetings, I was like, yeah, I can do this. And then I had to change my whole, you know,
approach,
the way I was like selling myself. But yeah, in the end, my agent is still my agent out in LA, and she took a meeting with me and I flew out there and she signed me to the Wall Group. And then I had my agent here in New York, and yeah, I've got a really great team, and you've got to work together with your agents to, you know, get the clients you want and get the schedule you want and the work you want, because makeup's, you know, there's so many, you can be on shoots, you can be on movies, you can be doing advertising campaigns, you can be doing events. There's so many different things you can do. And I think you really have to figure out which direction you want to go. The other thing people don't realize is this industry is so competitive that when you meet a client, you have to make a really big impression on your first makeup with them, because they can either book you again or they can go to somebody else. And I think that's one of the most important parts of our job, is to really like, you've got like a couple of hours to connect with someone, make them look the best they've ever looked, and have that rapport with them so that they come back and book you again.
You mentioned that big moment with L'Oreal and you're like, oh my God, this is huge. Is there any other moment that you were just like looked around and you said like, I can't believe that this is my job?
I think one recently during the pandemic, when there was no work at all and we were all locked up, I actually moved down to Miami for a bit, and I got down there. Yeah, I was a Miami girl in 2020. And I was unpacking and I was like, yeah, I'm ready just to hang out at the beach and ride my bike and be super chill because there was no work. And my agent called me and said, oh, Megan Fox has requested you to go do a movie with her over in Bulgaria. And I was like, okay, cool. Like when? She's like, in a few days. I'm like, okay. So I had to pack and prep and figure out the look for the movie and call in products that she wanted. And all of a sudden they sent me out to Puerto Rico and I met with Megan because that's where she was. And then we got on a private jet together and we flew over to Bulgaria and we lived in a hotel for 6 weeks, and I was doing her makeup 6 days a week. And I think that was a really crazy time.
I think that is a big I'm like listening to you. Yeah, I just like flew to meet Megan Fox, and then we went on a private plane. And then I'm the biggest fan of Megan and Machine Gun Kelly since recently. I've been a fan of Megan for a long time, but Machine Gun Kelly recently. So Let them know I said hi.
I loved working with her, and I was very grateful for that opportunity. And yeah, we had a great time shooting. We were on our feet, like shooting for 12, 13 hours a day and 6 days a week. And that schedule was pretty grueling. But it was during a time when a lot of my colleagues weren't working because of the pandemic. So I felt very, very thankful to Megan for choosing me to do that job with her. But yeah, that was cool too. And the other thing was I'd never done a movie before. And I said to Megan, you got to walk me through this because it's makeup's makeup, but like I didn't know some ins and outs of the movie world. And she was super kind and amazing to work with. So it was great.
I would love to break it down for some people who might be listening who don't really know much about makeup and different types of makeups and techniques and stuff like that. So let's say when it comes to movies, since you just mentioned movies, what would you say is different on a movie set versus everywhere else?
So I only did Megan's makeup and it was a glam look like she usually does, and she's all about skin, and we kind of have the same aesthetic. So with her, it was kind of just working with products that she liked and obviously making sure there's no shine at all. So I guess I used maybe a little bit more powder than I would say for an event makeup. But it wasn't, I think back in the day, they used to use very heavy bases for film and TV, whereas now it's HD. We were using Clé de Peau foundation, which is a gorgeous foundation. You need perfect skin for that. It doesn't have great coverage, but it's stunning on the right skin. And I still use my lashes and liner and shadows as usual. And I was just watching the monitor the whole time, making sure everything looked perfect.
You basically have to just like stand and watch the makeup the whole time, making sure nothing moves and like do touch-ups whenever something happens.
Like it just depends how long it's got to last. So with Megan, we'd touch it up, and I had moments throughout the day to really refresh it and do my little things to make it last. And that was the other thing. Like she had to jump in the water a lot. So I was using a lot of waterproof products, like Benefit brow crayons. They last really well. They're quite waxy and don't move. Anastasia Beverly Hills crayons are really good too. And, I like a lot of the time I test myself. So I do my eye makeup and I get in a shower. And I've shot for Sports Illustrated and I've done a lot of swimwear shoots over the years. And I'll always test products before they go on my kit and see how waterproof they are and things like that, how long they last. Like I tried a mascara the other day and I was so excited. I was like, this mascara, the campaign was amazing. And I wore it and I'm not joking. Like I looked in the mirror an hour later and when it's all up here?
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is not going into
such
my
a
kit.
waste.
Like I can't.
Let's talk about your kit. So as a makeup artist, you obviously have your kit. How would you build your kit now if you were starting from scratch? For those girls who might want to do makeup?
I would definitely start with brushes that are going to last you a really long time, because I think investing in good brushes, I've honestly still got brushes from when I started. So, I mean, I've got my brush set now. This is the Essential Brush Collection that I designed. These are amazing brushes, but I think investing in brushes is so important. I also think, with foundations, it's important to have a whole color range, but maybe you skip a few shades and you learn how to mix. And it's like painting. You pour a few on a palette and then you mix to the exact color you want. You don't need to have every single shade, but you need to learn how to create different shades out of what you have. And then with eyeshadows, having cool and warm tones and all your basics. And I think I remember I used to use a lot of matte cosmetics when I started because that was all the rage, and I still love matte cosmetics, and just having a few lipsticks in every tone and a really good suitcase or bag to carry everything and make sure everything is safe and secure and won't smash is super important as well.
I remember when I was starting, I got my Zuka bag and I thought it was the best bag I ever got. And until this day, I have it because it's literally sitting, even though I don't do makeup anymore as much, like I still do it for some friends or maybe like a special, you know, a special request. I literally still have my Zuka sitting in my closet as we speak.
Oh my God, I love it. Mine's in my parents' garage. But yeah, they were good bags.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, nowadays beauty industry is obviously huge and people are pushing so many products on you, but if you have to learn how to use the products you have and learn how to mix and match. So like if you have a foundation that is really thick and you want to make it sheer, like less coverage, there's ways to kind of thin it down by using moisturizer or certain primers or something like that. And, you know, I feel like with cool and warm tones, like when you add just a dash of one color, you can completely change the tone. What I really loved was when Anastasia Beverly Hills actually dropped that lip palette. I don't know if you remember that lip palette.
I do.
Where you had that like really blue and yellow intense. Like when I first got it, I was literally playing with that all day, every day. It was like one of my favorite products. When it comes to skin prep, you said there's skin prep is huge.
Yes.
Let's say you were doing a makeup right now for a celebrity. What would you do for her skin prep?
So one of my favorite masks is the Tatcha Dewy Skin Mask. And I often use this before a red carpet. And what it does is it hydrates the skin. It leaves the skin with a gorgeous glow. The other one, if you want to go a bit more high end, is the Sisley mask. And you leave those on and you massage those into the skin. But I'll typically always do a mask on my client. And then depending on their skin type, I'll use different serums, moisturizers, and then a primer. My favorite for primers are the ones with the glow in them. So you've got like your Tom Ford, your Laura Mercier's. They're really beautiful. Yeah, stunning primers. And I find they just, you know, highlight the skin and they add that extra bit of, you know, glow to the final look. And I always use a beautiful lip balm as well. It's really important to hydrate the lips. And I do that before I've done anything else. So when you come to the lipstick at the end, it's nothing worse than a crusty lip on a red carpet. Barbara Sturm does a really good lip balm. I love that one. And yeah, I just find that if you spend 10 minutes on the skin before you do anything else, you're going to see better results for sure.
I feel like skin is the most important part when it comes to beauty. And a lot of times girls are telling me like, oh my God, drop the makeup routine, drop the routine. I'm like, I should be dropping my skincare routine, not my makeup routine as much. Because if you don't have like a good base, it's very hard to camouflage that with makeup. And when you're adding product on product on product, it's just going to look cakey. What would you
100%.
say to those girls who might have like really dry skin, or if even they have like chopped lips all the time? What would you say?
Yeah, definitely exfoliating can get rid of that extra layer of dry skin. I highly recommend facials. Like, I know they're expensive for some people, but if you can afford to go get yourself a facial once every however, I mean, I go monthly because I've always had acne prone skin, and I just find it helps me. I also like to treat skin from within. So whether you're dry, oily, acne prone, for me, I have found since I've changed my diet, I went and saw a nutritionist and did a lot of blood work, and I cut out gluten, dairy, and soy. And when I am eating really well, I've just cut out coffee. I try not to drink too much. I don't smoke. Coffee. Yeah, I know. That was hard. Cutting out alcohol was fine, but cutting out coffee, I drink raspberry teas. I drink lots of herbal teas now. But my skin just completely changes. Like if I eat ice cream, I get a pimple. Like that's how sensitive I find my skin is. But yeah, if you've got dry skin, I think the other good thing is, you know, the tools, it's called Dermaflash. It actually gets rid of the peach fuzz, and it can get rid of some dry skin also. That's a good tool to grab.
Let's talk about acne prone skin. If you have a lot of texture, what can you do to minimize that?
Okay, Boujee besties, I wanted to take a quick break to talk to you about someone who is a dear friend and who truly inspires me. Her name is Nikki Spo. So Nikki and I met a few months ago and we immediately connected. She is actually the twin flame I never knew I needed in my life. I love her and I love talking to her. But when I can't talk to her, you know, she gets pretty busy with her 2 boys and a baby girl on the way. I love listening to her podcast, The Know with Nikki Spo. I'm all about those honest conversations where nothing is off limits, from healing your traumas to money, sobriety, marriage, intimacy, creating boundaries, you name it. We are all about living life on your own terms, okay? I mean, I know it's hard to be yourself in this world full of judgment and shame, but it doesn't have to be that way. Nikki's podcast episodes will really help you to own your worth, step into your deep inner knowing, and own your power. Tune into her podcast, The Know with Nikki Spo, on Apple, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are streaming. Now let's get back to the episode.
So as someone who suffered from acne for a really long time, I find that, you know, obviously don't touch your face, because when you pick, you scab and you scar. So the first thing to do is you can do some compression on it, either with ice. If it's feeling swollen, sometimes icing it can just help calm it. And then depending on how red it is, you can definitely use like a corrector. So obviously green corrects super red pimples. But I find just layering and a good beauty blender will help, like just layer and then like do another layer of concealer. And just, I find if you just do it on the targeted areas, you don't want to keep like doing layer on the whole face. I think you've got to really just target those spots. Otherwise you end up, I mean, I don't like too much makeup on the base. So I think just focusing on the actual problem areas is the best way to cover anything that's bothering you.
Yeah, so basically do like more of a sheer coverage all over, and then where you have those specific breakouts or something, put some more product on that, and use a product that's a little thicker than everything else.
Exactly. One of my favorites is the NARS, you know, the soft matte concealers in the pot.
Yes, I love that.
They're brilliant. They're brilliant for covering pimples. And they come in so many different shades as well.
As we're getting older, obviously we start noticing some fine lines that are resting on our face. A lot of girls have issues with products settling in. What would you say they should do?
Okay, so aside from putting something topically on, hydration in the skin, if drinking water is so important in our beauty regime. I can't even tell you, my nutritionist has drilled this in me, and your under eye area will change.
Taking a sip of water as you speak, just because you just told me.
Literally, and sleep. Like water and sleep is so important, and I know sometimes we can't control these things, but if you try to drink a few liters a day, you're going to see better results in your skin. But under the eye area, I'll never do a makeup without eye cream. I always put a nice thick layer of eye cream and I massage that in and I let it settle into the skin. And then I like to use a nice liquid concealer, and I'll either press it in with the warmth of my finger, or I'll use like a brush like this and I'll buff it out under the eye. And then I like to use a super, super fine powder, like a silky powder. A really good one is the one by Tatcha. By Terry do a really nice one. And you can actually feel how silky it is. And because it's so silky, it's not going to settle into that under eye area. You can even tell, you know, Laura Mercier, they have a translucent powder.
Yeah.
But then they also have the under eye powder, and you'll feel the difference in the texture.
Yeah.
It's brightening powder. So definitely, I think under the eyes, you've got to be really careful what powders you're using, because that's where you get crepey.
A lot of blending, a
lot of hydration first, and not too
like
much
a thin
powder
layer
under
of
the
powder.
eyes.
Do you have a favorite way of applying makeup? So when I do my makeup, I usually just start with my base, then I do my brows, eyes, and lips. I kind of leave for last. Do you have a specific way you do your makeup, or for clients?
I mix it up. I would say on myself, I probably start with the base, And with clients, I would say 80% of the time I start with a base. Unless I'm doing a super, super dark eye, I'll start with the eye because obviously, you know, I've been doing this, so do the eye, clean it up, do your skincare, and then put your base on at the end. Also, if you're in like a really hot climate like Miami, sometimes it's better to leave the skin till the end because if it's humid and you don't want it to move around as much. But yeah, I think it doesn't really matter. I don't never tell people you have to do it this way. I think both ways definitely work.
Glowy skin. So is there anything specific, any specific technique that you use besides obviously the prep and the primer?
Yeah, moisturizing, a nice glowy primer. One product I've had in my kit forever is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate. And it has a contour section and a highlight section. And if you tap that onto the tops of the cheekbones, it's been my forever favorite, like glassy glow kind of look where it's super see-through, there's no glitter in it, and it just looks gorgeous on everybody. I also love Charlotte Tilbury products for skin. She has the highlight wand that's gone viral, and that's a beautiful product for glowy skin. Dior do a lovely face backstage face glow palette.
What is your favorite thing to do? When I was doing makeup, I loved doing eyebrows. I would always like spend my time on eyebrows because I feel like they just frame your face. And they're like, if you don't have a good eyebrow.
100%. I think you can really tell a makeup artist's skill by the way they do brows. And I think if you spend enough time on the brows, it sets everything else in place. So I would agree with you on that. I love doing a good brow. I'm very particular on eyes as well. And I like people's eyes to pop. Like no matter what color they are, I like to use like a contrasting color or, you know, build a shape that really just accentuates their eyes. And then I'm known for my glowy skin, so that's probably my other favorite thing.
Let me ask you specifically about eyes. So for somebody who has blue eyes, what colors you would recommend?
So you want to go into that warm copper, warm browns, and they're going to really make the blue eyes stand out a little bit more. Also, like golden colors are great for blue eyes.
What about green? Would you say something similar?
Green, a plum looks insane on green eyes. It's really going to draw that green color out because they're contrasting colors. Brown, I love doing navy eyes. I love putting like, there's a beautiful Tom Ford navy liner and Victoria Beckham does one too, and they look insane on brown eyes.
I love Victoria Beckham products, by the way. Her products are really, really good. We mentioned brushes. So you said that people should really invest in brushes. I absolutely agree. If you're like on a budget and you don't want to like invest into 20, 30 brushes, what should you do? Which ones do you have to have?
Definitely need a brush like this. It's like fluffy. And that's going to get you a nice, like, kind of any sort of eye. Like if you want to do a wash of gold, if you want to smoke it out, just something that's able to blend eyeshadow. Definitely think a bronzer type brush just to swoop on your cheeks. And, you know, you can get one of these and you can double it up for a blush, for powder. You just have to clean it in between, I guess. I can't live without an eyebrow brush. So having like a spoolie. And then the other end is like an angle. So I dip this into the Anastasia Pro Powder and I just draw little fake hairs in my brows. And then a foundation brush, I think, is really key.
A good foundation brush, bronzer / blush, kind of. And then something for your eyeshadow, just to like a fluffy to blend it out and all that. What about lips? What do you like for lips?
What do I like for lips? I want to say if I'm doing an eye, I'll go for that pinky brownie nude tone. And then if I want to do a red lip, I'll keep everything else really simple. So I find drawing out one feature over the other is really key. I think sometimes if you've got everything going on, depending on your face structure as well. I mean, some girls can handle a lot of makeup. And I know as I'm getting older, I find the more makeup I put on, I think sometimes I can look worse now. So I like to keep it really light and really just focus on one feature.
You know what I get sometimes? People ask me like, what's my blush? Like what kind of color blush should I go for? What kind of color lips I should go for? How can they figure out what color suits them?
Now you can go into Sephora and you can actually like test things out and there's people that work there that they really know their stuff. And I think that's really great now that they've got that, because I know when I was growing up, we only had the option of like MAC, and we had a brand in Australia called Napoleon, and that was about it. Like, there was Clinique as well. So I think now there's so much choice, and you can really go in and play in these stores and figure out what really suits you before buying something.
You know what I really like as a trick? It's like, look at inside of your lips. Just look inside of your mouth. Inside of your mouth and see the shades that are in there. And that obviously already matches pretty well on your face. So I really love using lip colors on my cheeks when I'm doing like a very fast makeup. So like multi-use products. Is there any other tips or techniques you can kind of suggest that are multi-use or something that, not everybody would think of?
I love that too. I love using a lip color on my cheek as a cream blush, because essentially it's the same sort of texture and pigment. You can often use like a highlight as part of your eyeshadow. There's a Charlotte Tilbury. Right now. There's a Charlotte Tilbury palette, Film Star Bronze and Glow, which I'm obsessed with. And it's got a bronzer and a highlight. And so you can bronze your face, highlight your cheeks, and then you can use the bronzer as eyeshadow, and then you can use the highlighter just to do that inner eye area and a little bit under the brow bone. And, that's a really nice basic kind of makeup. Brands are definitely coming out with these palettes where they've got a little bit of everything in it, and then you don't have to travel with so much. And I love that.
Let's talk about mascaras. Do you have a favorite mascara?
I have many. Do you know what? I'm going to tell you my favorite drugstore mascara is Maybelline Sky High. It's in a pink tube. I'm obsessed. I also, at the higher end, I love the Byredo mascaras. They're a little bit expensive.
I never tried.
But they're really cool. Another one that's really great if you're on a holiday and you want to put mascara on and go in the water is the Armani Eyes to Kill in the waterproof.
Somebody has shorter lashes. What should they look for?
Lengthening. And then the other important thing, I know you love a lash curler. You always have to curl your lashes.
Yeah.
Your lashes are going to grow so much because you're going to bend them right at the base of the lash, and they're going to instantly look longer. So I love a Tweezerman lash curler. They're super inexpensive and they work really well. So I think that's step one. And then using a beautiful lengthening mascara really helps. And another product that I'm not sure if you're aware of is Lashify. And Lashify was launched,
I heard of them.
maybe
I never
a couple
used
years
them,
ago. They're so good for people with short lashes. What they are is little clusters that are glued underneath your lash line. And so you can actually tailor them. They come in all different sizes.
Oh my God, my friend has been just using them. I just remembered. I just realized. Okay, please continue. Yes, but she's been telling me about this. And now, I just remembered. Okay, I'm sorry.
They're amazing. It's okay. I used them on Olivia Culpo recently in Cannes at the Cannes Film Festival. And they just, if you want length, if you want boldness, if you want curl, there's all different types. And you glue maybe about 5 clusters on each eye. And there's a little like glue, and then you clamp it to get it to stick together with your lashes. And if you look after them, they can last a couple of days.
So they are not like your typical strip lash or like your individual. So it stays longer if you apply it properly. Okay, exactly. I'm so happy you mentioned the lash curler because I cannot stress enough how important a lash curler is. When I can't find my lash curler, I will literally go to Sephora and buy it before I apply my mascara. I am not kidding. Because a lash curler it makes the world of difference. And then I have some girls telling me, they're like, I'm scared it's gonna break my lashes, it's gonna fall out. They're not gonna fall out. Just like don't pull your eye out, just be gentle.
Yeah. And it's like anything, it's practice.
What about mascaras that are clumping on your lashes? Would you say that's like a mascara you should just throw away, or you think maybe they're applying too much product, or what's going on?
So mascara is the one product that I frequently throw out in my kit. So you should only keep a mascara for a couple months, and then it's it dries out, it gets clumpy. And that's why drugstore mascaras are so great, because they're inexpensive and you can just get a new one. But the other thing I use if you do get clumps is a little metal tool which like has little prongs, and it's like a lash comb, and you just like comb it through and all the clumps come out. So that's another really good tool to have in your makeup kit if you find that happens to you frequently.
One more mascara question. When girls feel like their mascara is running, what do you think they should do to avoid that? Or I feel like they probably didn't set their cream products.
You've got like lots of oil around the eye. Like say you use a moisturizer that is super hydrating and you don't put anything to like dry it out a little bit, it's definitely going to mix together and run. The other thing is switching to a waterproof. I know they're harder to get off, but you just have to have a good oil cleanser and it comes straight off.
We didn't mention eyeliner. Is there any eyeliner technique that you kind of love, or do you like a big liner?
I mix it up. I love either doing like a super cat eye with like a liquid marker type liner. I love the one by Tom Ford. The other liner look I love is to kind of rim the eyes and then to smoke it out. So it's like that lived in kind of smoky eye look, and then you go into the waterline, the top and bottom. So yeah, it just depends on the client and the look that they like, and their eye shape as well. Certain people can't have, I've got a few clients, I would never put anything in their waterline because it's just going to close the eyes,
make it smaller.
Exactly. And you probably know this trick too. Like a good one is to put a white or a cream pencil in that waterline.
Victoria Beckham has a great one.
She does. It's a really nice one. So yeah, those little tricks definitely help. Or like if you do have smaller eyes, doing the bottom liner under the lashes and smoking it out, and then that's going to give the appearance of a bigger eye shape.
What do you like mostly about your job?
I love my flexibility. Every day is different. I've got many different clients, and so I never get bored. I'm a Gemini, and I love to keep life interesting. And, I love the dynamics of the job where, one day you're at a hotel, next day you might be on a beach, you might be up at the Hamptons, whatever it is. It's always interesting. You can never guess what's around the corner sometimes, which keeps it fun and exciting. And I'm a people person as well. And as much as I love the creativity and creating the makeup, of course, I love just talking to women in the makeup chair. And, I always find out the best restaurants, dating tips, fashion. We always have good banter in the makeup chair. Like people tell me their deepest, darkest secrets sometimes. And it's just a very, like I get very close to my clients. You work very closely with them. You're working with them sometimes at 5 a.m. in the morning, and it's a great job if you like all those things.
So for somebody who would love to start a makeup career, what would you suggest? Like, how can they start? Because it's so saturated nowadays, but like if you really, really want to go for it, you should. So we 100% support all the makeup artists out there.
100%. I'm telling you, when I wanted to do makeup, people laughed at me. I'm not even joking. They laughed. They thought, why are you gonna do that? How are you gonna get work? I got all the comments, and somehow I shut out the noise and I did it anyways. But if you're starting out now, you are so lucky. You have TikTok, you have Instagram, and it's so easy to connect with people and to put your work out there. I think it's really important to educate yourself. Know products, know skin types, Practice is so important. I've probably done over 500 weddings in my career, because back in the day I would go and I'd do 8 bridesmaids and a bride and a mother of the bride. And I was able to do 10 makeups in a day, like back to back. And those days put me in really good position for me, like with what I do now, because I got my speed up. I got to learn products and brushes, and you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with acne, rosacea, and I think learning your craft and assisting is also amazing. I learned etiquette around celebrities and etiquette to be on set and how to interact with agents and stylists and editors. And I learned a lot from my assisting days. And I also met some really incredible people like photographers and stylists that really helped me propel my career forward.
I feel like assisting really changed my entire makeup career because like you are able to be on set with some people that you would never even have the opportunity to be with. And then maybe that main makeup artist, if you're doing a good job, and then that main makeup artist is sick or something, and they're going to be like, well, her assistant is good. Why don't we just call her? And that is going to happen if you're at the right time, at the right place. And I'm never going to forget this. I was assisting this girl. I think it was a Maybelline campaign or something. And it was a campaign for mascara. And my job was, so obviously like when they were shooting the mascara commercial, like the girl was applying mascara, and my job was to remove the mascara between every shoot.
Wow.
Oh my God. It was my first time ever on a big shoot like that. I was shaking. I did not know what to do. Because I was scared that I'm going to like take her entire makeup off, but I was supposed to just take off like a small part. But those things that you would never even learn if I wasn't there on that set, I would never learn that. And then maybe one time I would have to do it on a celebrity, and I would be like, whoa, what am I supposed to do here? I have no idea. And that makeup artist told me, you don't speak to anybody unless they speak to you as an assistant back then, because a lot of times like you need to know your place on set. And I feel like that is very important. Like what you mentioned, etiquette, like you can't give your opinions and your advice and all that if you're a makeup artist. Like you can't tell a celebrity, oh, I think you should change your dress. So like, I think you should do that. Or I think or don't comment on the lighting, or don't comment on anything that's like not your jurisdiction, because there's other people who are there for that specific reason. So yeah, I will never forget when she was like, don't speak to anybody until you're spoken to. And
I think that's really good advice. I think it's great advice. And I had that exact same experience too. And, you know, I think sometimes this generation coming up, they think they're going to be the next big thing straight away. And yes, you may be, but other times you do need to learn your place, and you need to learn things about the industry and not step on toes. And it's a little dance you have to, you know, make to really make it in this career. And you don't want to burn bridges. I've had assistants work with me, and they're like, I'm not a confrontational person, but if they do one thing and it's just step the mark, I just never ask them back again. And that's just the way it is. And I think people, you know, coming into assisting, like if you're with someone that's really good and they're helping you, like you need to work really hard to stay in contact with that person, because that, like, so many people helped me that I assisted. Like they helped me so much, and I'm very generous to my good assistants. I'll give them anything. Like I send them work, I send them product, like I take them on really cool opportunities. And so I think that's good advice to, like, you know, figure out how to be a good assistant. And also, I think something we should chat about is like the way people email. I cannot believe some of the emails I get. And they spell my name wrong. They spell my name wrong. There's no punctuation or capital letters. And I'm just like, I can't even read this. Like,
you know what's it's so funny you mentioned this. I posted on my Instagram that I'm looking for an assistant, and I said, like a personal assistant, not a makeup assistant. And I said that I need them to include their Instagram link. And I said, I will not even reply to you if you don't include your Instagram link. And I can't even tell you how many emails I got without the link. And I'm like, I'm literally telling you, please include the link, and you did not include the link. Or even if they add a link, but it's not clickable. So when you are assisting, you always have to think of, how can I make that person's life easier? Don't 100%. Don't have her go into Instagram and type in your name. If I'm trying to find somebody to make my life easier, this is not making my life easier. It's actually making me do an extra step. So like, don't do that. Punctuations, misspelling my name, I mean, why do you think I'm going by Coco? Because Cornelius Linsky was like a little intense.
Too hard. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going by Coco.
Did you find somebody though?
I found a girl. I'm still not. I'm talking to like 2, 3. I have an intern right now. She's still in school, but I'm talking to a few people. So we'll see what's happening, because I wanted to have somebody in Miami because I'm here. So like, let me ask you about skin. You said you're glowy skin. So is there anything specific, any specific technique that you use besides obviously the prep and the primer?
Yeah, moisturizing, a nice glowy primer. One product I've had in my kit forever is the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate. And it has a contour section and a highlight section. And if you tap that onto the tops of the cheekbones, it's been my forever favorite, like glassy glow kind of look, where it's super see-through, there's no glitter in it, and it just looks gorgeous on everybody. I also love Charlotte Tilbury products for skin. She has the highlight wand that's gone viral, and that's a beautiful product for glowy skin. Dior do a lovely face, backstage face glow palette.
When I'm start selling my merch and all that, I want somebody to like help me with everything.
Wonderful.
But we'll see. So you have your makeup brushes. Are you planning to do anything else product-wise, or you're...
So with the product, we've got the brushes, and they come in a set of 12 at the moment, and our next phase that's coming out soon is going to be something a little bit different, so people will be able to buy them kind of separately, which is really cool, and they're available on Trademark Beauty. I'm just in a really happy place at the moment. I look after some really great clients in New York, and I'm just so grateful that I get to see these people like week in and week out. Vera Wang's one of my main clients, Diane von Furstenberg, and some of these big designers that I grew up idolizing. So I just am very thankful.
How did you feel after like being booked by your idols?
I mean, yeah, you kind of go into it and just hope they like you, I guess, in the beginning, and you just, you build that rapport, and you be nice. And a lot of this job is being good at your job and having a nice personality to be around, and being, respective to their privacy and everything. So yeah, I think it's like a whole, like, being a makeup artist is not just being good at makeup. Like, you got to be good at many things. You've got to be able to have good conversation and be polite and, be great on social media. There's so many different things now. So it's a lot. And, you were talking about having a personal assistant. I actually just took my intern on as my personal assistant because, I was finding there's so many different things to keep up with. So my assistant helps me with my kit and my inventory and the makeup storage and, TikTok and everything. So it's a very dynamic job these days. It's not just about making someone look great.
Well, Tobi, I'm so grateful for you being on my podcast. Please tell everybody where they can follow you, where can they buy your brushes, your Instagram, TikTok, all that.
Thanks, Coco. It's been a pleasure. So if you want to get the Essentials Makeup Brush Collection, they are available online at Trademark Beauty. The link is on my Instagram, and my Instagram is Tobi Makeup, and it's TOBI Makeup. So,
I will put your links in the show notes, and everybody please go follow Tobi. Your makeup is stunning. And thank you everybody for listening to Boujee Best Friend Podcast. If you guys like this episode, please share it with a friend. I hope you learned some new tips and tricks from Tobi. She is amazing, and I hope to see you everybody in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.